Ladies and gents, welcome back to another live stream. How are we all doing today? It is a little bit of an interesting day as far as price action goes for Bitcoin and for crypto. But as usual, as you are coming in, ladies and gents, do me a favor and give me a quick audio and visual check. Let me know if you can see me okay. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Before we kick this thing off. And welcome to another live stream. So as you are coming in, smash them up, smash up those likes. Shout out to Shakespeare 2010. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are in the world. Shout out to Pradeep Singh, Avion X, Sonder Matthias. How you guys doing? Hear you good, thank you very much. I'm a TV producer, sound and image perfect, son. Thank you very much, Adrian. Well, I hope that I impress those of you that are in the media space. I know that I don't do an amazing job, but I know that I do a job which the average person would be probably pretty impressed with. So that's good enough with me. I'm not trying to impress the media producers. They're too hard to impress, but the average guys that just want to know where to buy and sell, I'm happy if I'm impressing them. How you guys doing? Welcome to the live stream. Smash those likes up as you are coming in. We got Aziz in the Fin, I think, confessing that he's a full-time trader from Holland. So very sorry about that, bro. Sammy Loyal says big jump, like Draco Malfoy says Potter when doing chart analysis. I have no idea what that reference is. Hi, Sam from Madrid. How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Where are you guys watching from today? Let me know as usual. We got a little bit of a Bitcoin dump right now from 99,000 all the way down to $90,000. We're down by about 10K. I did warn you guys that you're going to wake up to a $10,000 candle one day, and it's all going to be completely fine. This is not that $10,000 candle, but you are probably seeing that it can happen now. So let me know where you guys are watching from as we come in, and let me know when you tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you feel bullish or bearish about this. Are you happy, upset, worried? Are you excited? What's your emotion right now? Is there no emotion? Tell me how you're feeling. And definitely make sure you smash up those likes. Let's get this thing above 100 likes right here before we kick off this stream. Let's see how we're doing here. So, who we got in the live stream today? We got Jeff from Atlanta, Stanley also from Holland. We got Jan Kowalski from Poland. Is it Jan or Jan? Please correct me. We got Germany, Connecticut. My chart looks the same. God is good. Wow. Well, it's a good support level that Bitcoin's at right now. I mean, we're not necessarily finding a lot of support here, but it is a good support level, and we'll continue talking about that as time goes on in this stream. We got Orlando. How are you guys doing over in Florida and like North Carolina and all that? You guys had some pretty horrible weather. It's been some time now. Hope you guys are all a little bit better. I spoke to one of my boys out in Sarasota, and he fucking lost everything. It was the most depressing thing ever. So sad. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's just insane, and it's hard to believe that it's like a normal thing for you motherfuckers in America. Like, I don't understand how this can be normal for you guys. But I mean, you got like large sections of your population in very, populated states just completely getting wiped out every couple of years. It's insane. But I hope you guys are safe out there wherever you are. Let's see who else we got. A lot of Dutch traders. Yeah, traders. A lot of Dutch people end up being traders. I wonder what that's about. I'm curious to know how that ends up happening. Thanks for smashing up those likes, ladies and gents. We got Toronto in the house. This dump is nothing. I've seen it so many times. Completely agree with you, Dinesh. You're absolutely on the money there. This dump is nothing. We're down by like 9K, which by the way is like 9%. Can we just like take a second to talk about how hilarious that is? The fact that a $9,000 drop represents 9% of price action for Bitcoin. We need to spend a couple of minutes just digesting that because that's quite crazy. I remember when $9,000 was the entire price of Bitcoin back in like 2020. So, definitely very, very interesting stuff. We got London town in the house. What's going on, London? Welcome, London. What is going on in the UK? You guys in the UK, there is a petition. I'm going to show it to you right now if you're in the UK. There is a petition calling for a general election in the UK. And it gained 2.6 million signatures in the first couple of days. 2.7 now. It is the fastest growing petition ever in the UK's history. And it's because Starmer wants to drag us into a fucking war with Russia. And he wants to play off all of Israel's conflicts. And he wants to import leeches for the benefit system. And I think the British public, despite being stupid enough to vote for him, now want a do-over. And so if you're British, and only if you're British, please exercise your democratic rights and sign this petition if you think that Keir Starmer needs to be kicked out of the government. That's my piece. I'm going to wrap this up. We're not talking about politics today. We're getting straight to the live stream. So welcome to the live stream, ladies and gents. It's amazing to see all of you guys in today. We've got... you're very, very welcome, Adrian. I'm very glad that I had the chance to show that to you. We got Ravindra in the land of Modi. Sorry about that, bro. Fucking Narendra Modi. My God, what another bag of shit. We won't focus too much, but yeah. I mean, you know, he's been good for a lot of people and terrible for others. Standard, I guess. But here, let's get to the charts, because we got a $99,000 Bitcoin rejection, which I think is really, really interesting. And this rejection means a lot for the market, right? The fact that we got rejected right here at 100K, the fact that we've been coming down, the fact that it's happened slowly, mind you, right? I mean, when the market actually gets rejected, let me just show you how it actually happens, yeah? When the market actually is going to get rejected and it's going to be painful, it's going to take a long time, it's going to look a little bit more like this, or a little bit more like this, right? Or a little bit more like this, where you're going to get to the high and you're not going to spend much time there. On this occasion, Bitcoin got to this high above $73,000 and it stayed there for only about 28 hours, and then it ended up coming down significantly lower, and Bitcoin didn't manage to retest that entire range for 7 to 8 months it took until Bitcoin got back up there. Look at this. It was an entire 230 days, so damn near 8 months that it took for Bitcoin to get back up to that resistance level, and it happened because Bitcoin got a relatively fierce rejection. Now, let's talk about what happened at $100,000, and let's see how Bitcoin got rejected here, and it's a very, very different picture. If we place a line at, let's say, $98,000, look at how long Bitcoin spent above this range, right? On this occasion here alone, it was 2 days. But in terms of just kind of floating around, messing around before a real rejection even happened, basically anywhere above this line at 95K, look at how long Bitcoin managed to spend above this line. 4.5 entire days. Josh is saying, I bet we're above the daily EMA ribbon. You're 100% correct about that, and I haven't even checked it myself. We are almost definitely above that daily EMA ribbon, and we're gonna be coming to that in just a minute. But those of you that are just tuning in, do me a favor as we kick this live stream off. We've been struggling with live streams for a little bit, but you guys have been helping a lot. If you can smash up those likes, if you enjoy this content, if you find it useful, if you find it entertaining, whatever the deal is, smash them up. It helps a lot. Let's get this thing above 100 likes as we kick this live stream off. It's going to be a very, very good one. 4.5 days Bitcoin managed to spend above this $95,000 zone of, I guess, now potential resistance. You know, and again, you know, we just compare it to what happened before when Bitcoin, you know, got above, you know, 70K, let's say. I mean, that 70K level is basically represented by this yellow box. You know, and Bitcoin managed to spend about 3 days up here. So similar time frames in that sense for sure. You know, and I think what's just really, really interesting is the fact that we're definitely still looking more positive now than we did originally back when we hit 70K. That's number one. But number two is that this is $100,000, right? This is not a $70,000 resistance level that is kind of important, but kind of not really important. And everybody and their grandmother knew we were going to get to 100K anyway. Everybody knew this for a very, very long time. They didn't necessarily know when it would happen, but I think most people did understand that it would eventually happen. And so now we've got a much more important resistance level than 70K. And I think that we're actually holding pretty well over here. I think that it took a very long time to get that rejection. And again, when you truly are going to set an all-time high, your rejections are quick. We really need to keep this in mind. Look at what happened last market cycle. Bitcoin set this all-time high at $69,420 actually. And if we look at where Bitcoin, you know, managed to stay above, you know, roughly, let's say 66K, you know, it was only 2 days. And so we've actually spent quite a long time up at this $100,000 resistance level. And then even when we did start getting rejected, it's not been particularly quick, okay? It's taken a day and a half for Bitcoin to drop by about 8.5%, which I just don't think is that important. I don't think that that's particularly strong as far as rejections go. And we're already slowing down at levels which are not even particularly good support levels, right? The only thing we've got on this chart as far as support goes so far is $91,000. This is where Bitcoin was topping out originally before it hit this 99K all-time high, and it only topped out here for a maximum period of about 6-7 days, which is not very long at all, and Bitcoin's already slowing down with its rejection now. Now, I'm not saying that this rejection is going to stop here. It can certainly go lower. I want to see it going as low as $70,000 or even lower than that, right? I ideally want to see a $67,000 Bitcoin. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't actually think I'm going to get it, but I would love to see it. However, we are slowing down at, I would say quite weak support levels. When we start talking about what makes a support level strong or weak, one of the biggest things that you can, there's two big things that make a support level strong or weak. The first thing that makes a support level strong is the time that we've been respecting it. If we've been respecting a level for a long time, not 91K. 91K was only respected as resistance for 7 days. If we've been respecting a resistance or a support level for a long time, I'm talking a month, 6 months, 2 years, right? A long time. That's going to make that level very significant. That's number one. Number two, if that level produces significant pullbacks, that's going to be another reason to respect a support or resistance level. And again, we look at 91K, and number one, it neither produced a long-term rejection for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin only spent 6 days below it, nor did it produce a big rejection for Bitcoin. From high to low, the maximum drop off this resistance zone was 7%, which is, Bitcoin had only rallied up by, 41% to get up here. You could just argue that it was due for a correction, right? And nothing more spectacular, nothing more, crazy than that. It was only due to have a correction, and that's what we saw here. And so, again, when you look at it from that perspective, it's neither a long-term rejection, nor is it a deep correction, and so it fails both criteria for me to determine whether this is an important support level or not. It fails it because it hasn't produced a big rejection, and it hasn't produced a long-term rejection. And so to me, this is what I would call a weak zone of support. Now, comparatively, 67K, 70K, let's talk about these. Well, the $73,000 all-time high, $74,000 all-time high that Bitcoin originally set earlier on this year was quite a big deal. It produced a rejection which immediately took Bitcoin down by 17%, which is a lot more than Bitcoin's 7% drop so far. And it ended up taking Bitcoin as low to its absolute low by 33%. That certainly makes this an important, formidable zone on this chart, in my opinion, and it's no surprise that when we finally hit this level again, we got another rejection just to kind of backtest some of our support, fall into the best zone of support that this market has, down by 9%. It took about 6 days, and that's when we were able to produce the subsequent the subsequent lift off, the subsequent blast off, right? So clearly an important level producing significant rejections. But does it serve as resistance for a long time? Well, absolutely yes. It took very nearly 8 entire months for Bitcoin, only 3 days shy of 8 months for Bitcoin to break this resistance level. And so it also stood the test of time, telling us that this was an incredibly long-term zone of resistance, and a very big one because it produced big drops down to absolute lows of about $49,000 on this chart. So clearly, ladies and gents, this was an important resistance level. Now, before I move on, I also want to talk about this 49K bottom. Everybody and their grandmother was expecting a $48,000 Bitcoin, and Bitcoin bottomed out at precisely $49,000. Everybody and their grandmother was expecting a $48,000 Bitcoin, and Bitcoin bottomed out at $49,000. This is incredibly typical. If you have money sidelined waiting to get back into Bitcoin because you wanted to be the smart guy selling a little bit at 100K, it's incredibly likely that you're not going to get the fill that you want, or that you are going to get the fill that you want, but it's going to drop significantly lower than that fill, and because you're ADHD enough to get out of the market at 100K, you're also going to be ADHD enough to take yourself out of the market when Bitcoin goes below your entry. If you're taking that kind of move, what you're actually saying is that you're not confident in your trading abilities. You need to reduce your market exposure potentially down all the way to 0 in order to buy back more just to get more Bitcoin, and basically you want to risk getting sidelined while this entire market potentially, it might not happen, but potentially explodes, where Bitcoin potentially goes up to 150K, 200K, whatever. But just because you want a $20,000 better entry, you're missing out on the next potential 2x, right? And so I think a lot of people are making that mistake. It's not necessarily a mistake. We don't know if it's a mistake until, one of us gets proven right or wrong. But it's been a mistake for Bitcoin throughout its history. It was clearly a mistake over here, which is the most famous example of it happening recently. And I think this is really, really important. We got Formula Moments asking me to look at XRP. It's holding well on its drop way above the dollar mark. Yeah, we're going to take a look at XRP because we've been analyzing it quite a bit on this YouTube channel. It has been pulling back. It's pulled back to a really nice price zone. It hasn't fallen back down to this previous consolidation zone, which is very interesting because Doge did. I was 100% correct about this breakout, but the breakout didn't go as high as I was expecting, and it's back in its range now. So we are going to be looking at altcoins. Solana's looking interesting. Solana against Bitcoin is looking so damn spicy. I can't wait to talk about that. Obviously, Ethereum, speaking of, Bitcoin charts, is looking particularly interesting. The dominance chart on Bitcoin is going to be something that we talk about a little bit later on in this video. And of course, we've got traditional finance because we've got to take a look at the S&P 500, which is right now sitting at a brand new all-time high, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, the dollar also sitting at very nice highs. So there's a lot more that we're going to be going through in this live stream. And if you are looking forward to me getting to all of that, then do me a favor and smash up those likes as you are coming in here. We got 120 likes, 550 viewers. Let's pump them up. Let's get this thing above 200 likes if you are enjoying this stream so far. Double check, of course, that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on all this super time sensitive content. And while you are down there, Bybit is giving you up to 30k to trade with for free, meaning that when you sign up and start trading using this link, after you make your deposit, after you start trading, Bybit's going to give you up to 30k in free money. Any profits you make with that money are yours to keep. Any losses you make are Bybit's problem, so fuck them. You don't have to deal with that. That's their issue. And so if you want that free money, if you want to be able to trade with it, then check it out. And Blowfin has got even more aggressive offers, actually. If you start trading on Blowfin, you stand to get a camera, a travel fund, a Kawasaki motorbike, a Tesla Model 3, depending on how much trading volume you have there on Blowfin, and they're going to give you a ton of free cash as well. So check it out if you're interested. It's a great alternative to Bybit. Only, of course, use these platforms if you're not in a restricted region, if you are allowed to use them by law in your country. Really, really cool stuff. Well worth checking out here. But thanks for pumping those likes up, ladies and gents. You're absolute legends. Let's bring it back to the Bitcoin chart here. We're finding support right now at a level which I would deem to be weak, and I think that tells you a lot about the underlying strength or weakness of bulls and bears, right? I don't personally care how low this chart drops, right? Whether this is the bottom or Bitcoin bottoms out at 86,000, which is another good zone of support, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on in this live stream, or whether Bitcoin bottoms out significantly lower at, let's say, I don't know, 70k, right? 67k. Regardless of where Bitcoin bottoms out in any of those places, I think Bitcoin is looking like it's in a very strong place overall because it's finding support already and it's slowing down on this drop already off what should be a very, very strong zone of resistance, okay? And if it's not a strong zone of resistance, then to me, it just means that this level is eventually going to break. I don't think I'm telling you anything groundbreaking here. I don't think I'm telling you anything particularly surprising here, but there are some people who actually believe that this is going to be very similar to what we had in 2021. And I want to talk to you about that a little bit because we need to dispel this immediately. I think some people are, dare I say even rightfully concerned that, you see, this was the $70,000 level for Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin just came very, very close to that level, and then it tumbled down and it went all the way down to $15,000. And so we got some people saying that we're kind of doing the same thing with 100k right now. I can understand why they might say that. First of all, they're burnt out. But second of all, they also think that, Bitcoin is going to, not rally substantially higher than its previous all-time high now because it's so big. And we know it's big, right? I mean, if we look at Bitcoin by market cap, it's absolutely enormous. It's worth $1.8 trillion, which is $100 billion more than the silver market is worth. It's worth more than Saudi Aramco, the entire company, which is just crazy. And it's closing in on Google, Amazon, which again is just insane valuation here for Bitcoin. So there are rightfully some people saying that, it's kind of reaching its peak here in terms of how quickly it can move. And so it might be topping out. And obviously, Bitcoin just kind of front running levels a little bit. I can understand why people say that, but I've been, and I've been very vocal about this. I just think a lot of people in this market are really traumatized. I think that they're really burnt. I think that they're really exhausted. I think that a lot of people are not even positioned in Bitcoin while Bitcoin is going up. And so their altcoins are just kind of sitting there doing nothing or making marginal gains compared to Bitcoin, or just generally not even recovering the losses that they've experienced since 2021. I think an incredibly large proportion of people in this market are in that position. I think a lot of people watching this live stream right now are probably in that position as well. And that's why you're starting to see a lot of people just really fading this rally. But to me, all I see is that we have rallied up by, quite a spectacular amount here from our absolute low of this little move, to the high. Bitcoin has doubled Bitcoin has doubled in 100 days. You know, so that alone is just insane. Okay, let's just call it what it is. That is crazy alone. You know, and then with all of that in mind, we're now seeing a 9% pullback. And this 9% pullback is colored in by not even being particularly strong. Okay, we're not even getting a particularly, you know, vicious, deep, quick, aggressive pullback here. First of all, we didn't even start the pullback until a couple days later, as if the bears were just fucking asleep on the job. And then when they did start the dump, it's been relatively slow, and it's slowed down at what I would call, what I've been spending the last 10-20 minutes talking about, what I would call a weak support level. I don't think that this is a strong support level, and if we're already finding support off it, then how strong are the bears? Really? How strong are the bears actually? If, number one, they can't produce a dump immediately, number two, when they do produce a dump, it's slow, number three, it finds support at the first obvious support level, which isn't even a strong support level. You know, to me, you know, if you got a bearish argument to make on Bitcoin, I'm struggling to see how you can substantiate it, right? That's how I feel about this market. Like I said, I don't know how much lower it's going to go. We're going to be talking about that in just a minute, but I think that this is all a really, really big deal. How are you guys doing today in the live chat? Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gents. Let me know how we're feeling, if we're feeling bullish or bearish about all of this. I want to know how you guys are feeling in the live chat. 9% drop, that's nothing. That's just a cheaper buy opportunity. I don't even think it's a buy opportunity. I don't know how you guys are still buying Bitcoin at these levels. Like, I see people talking about, like, I'm going to buy Bitcoin if it falls down to 90K. And I'm like, motherfucker, where were you for 7 months when Bitcoin was at 60K? And now you want to buy Bitcoin at 90 because it's dropping? Like, I mean, I get it. We need buyers. But, like, why is it fashionable to be buying a $90,000 Bitcoin when we were just at 60K for 7 to 8 months? I mean, that to me doesn't make sense. You know, clearly it's just people getting really... Dude, stop spamming the chat. You're getting blocked. You're not getting blocked. I'll be nice to you. Just going in the naughty corner for 5 minutes. You belong in the naughty corner because you're being naughty, sir. That's how this works. That's how this works. We're doing this live on stream so you can watch this guy get put in the naughty corner. Here we go. 5 minutes for you, sir. He's getting 5 minutes. There we go. You can't spam the chat, Abdul Mukadim. Not good. Not good. Don't spam the chat. We're going to have to publicly start shaming people who don't have etiquette in these live streams. Because you ruin it for everybody else. Look at you. Tomas doing the same thing. You're going in the... Here's Tomas. Tomas is getting the axe as well. Here we go. Put user in timeout 5 minutes. Let's not do it, guys. Let's just not do it. Let's not spam the chat. But we're gonna get to XRP, I promise. We are gonna get to XRP. We got Stock Nerd feeling 100% bullish. We got Juan saying I'm neither bullish nor bearish. I'm just waiting for the chart to tell something. How likely is it to go back to 70K? Okay, let's start looking at that. So if we look at Bitcoin right now, like I said, it's got its support right now. It's slowed down already. Now, the fact that it's slowing down doesn't mean that it's actually going to bounce and then, you know, we're going to rally up to 100K and break it and everything, right? We could still keep on dropping, but it's about reading between the lines, right? Reading between the lines allows us to see if this market is generally looking strong, if it's leaning in a stronger direction, or if it's leaning in a weaker direction. And that's really, really important for us, because if we can tell those kind of things, then we can understand where... look, put it this way. If we're finding support at a weak level like this, then you have some idea that this market might be relatively bullish. And so if you get down to a support level like 74K, which was the previous all-time high, it's going to be a lot easier to expect support down here, because you know that we were already you know that we were already enjoying support up here. In other words, if you find it easy to do something difficult, then you're probably going to find it very easy to do something easy. Right? Does that make sense? Can you please let me know in the live chat? Does that make sense, right? It's not easy to find support at weak support levels. It is easy to find support at strong support levels. So if we're already finding support at a weak support level, then clearly, if we get to a stronger support level, we must do very, very well. The performance must be a lot better. Right? It's just reading between the lines. All we're doing is we're understanding the characteristics of the market. Right? One of the ways we do this is we look at Bitcoin's chart here, and I say to you, Bitcoin's trending up, right? It enters a period of vertical accumulation, and then it trends up. It enters a period of vertical accumulation and then trends up. Vertical accumulation and then trends up, okay? So it's the same thing. We're reading between the lines and we're seeing that, look, the fact that Bitcoin moves up and then it just cannot stop going up and it just slowly inches higher instead of consolidating sideways. Instead of consolidating sideways a little bit like this or consolidating down a little bit like this thing consolidates upwards. And so, if we're trying to read between the lines, then this actually tells us that even when the market is taking a breath, right, to kind of pause and regain itself, it's still bullish, and that can give you an idea of just how aggressive the market is, right? It's just about reading between the lines and understanding the characteristics a little bit, right? If you're a parent and you've got a kid in front of you who's giving you a lot of attitude, or let's say they're just generally feeling moody and the kid's like 2 years old, you might know that they have an actual problem, right? I don't know, maybe they need to use the toilet or something. You're just going to be able to tell, right? If there are characteristics that show that something is looking particularly strong or particularly happy or particularly excited, then you might be able to tell what's going to happen next. And that's what I've been saying to you about vertical accumulation. We were 100% correct about it at every single point so far. And that's what I'm telling you right now about this support level that Bitcoin's at, because I don't think that it's particularly strong. And if we're finding support here, then I certainly expect that we're going to be finding support at the actual support levels, which are significantly lower than where we are now, right? So where are these next zones of support? Well, I believe that there's going to be another one around here at about $87,000, $86,000. Beneath that, you got another one here at about 76, but really, it's just going to be here in this kind of $73,000 price zone. This is going to be the main zone of support for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Where we are right now is a zone of support that kind of opens up, right? Bitcoin managed to trade all the way from a low over here at about 85 to a high over here at about 93. 94, 93. And so this entire zone could start serving as support for Bitcoin. And you know what? If it does, then fantastic. We don't have to drop lower. But if it doesn't, there is no more support here that I'm seeing, right? The only history that Bitcoin has ever had between $74,000 and $85,000, the only time Bitcoin has ever traded between those two price levels here was in this circle, okay? And this circle spans a range of, in this case, what is this? 5.5 days, right? Bitcoin has been in this price zone for 5.5 days only, and it's established no resistance on the way up, and so I will not expect any support on the way back down. So if this dump does intensify, $74,000 is the first strong zone of support that I'm seeing for Bitcoin. And if we're already doing well off 91, then I definitely anticipate that 74 could be a very strong zone of support. However, if I'm wrong about that, for me, support on this chart stays very strong and actually gets stronger all the way down to about $67,000, right? So this entire range here, basically anywhere between this box and this box, is a very, very good bounce zone for Bitcoin. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gents, now that Bitcoin started to top out, we can also start throwing some Fibonacci's on here and getting a look at what might be coming next for Bitcoin as far as support bounces. And look at exactly where that golden pocket falls. You can't make this shit up. It's absolutely spectacular. The 618 to 0.66 Fibonacci retracement for Bitcoin falls perfectly between $66,000 and $68,000. And I promise you, if Bitcoin comes all the way down here, that's going to be a 33% drop. People in this market are going to lose their fucking minds. People in this market are going to lose their minds if Bitcoin drops down by 33%. Because that is going to be very, very scary. It's going to result in probably a lot of carnage in the altcoin market. I'm talking significant support levels getting dropped. You guys have been seeing the Bitcoin dominance chart. This thing has been setting brand new high after brand new high, no matter how low it drops in the interim. And if this thing continues to drop now for Bitcoin, I think that the dumps for altcoins could get very, very serious, right? So this lines up perfectly where we're probably going to be seeing max pain, max fear, max everything. We're most likely actually going to be experiencing a very, very good Fibonacci support level sitting here at the 67,000 zone of support. So I think that is absolutely fantastic. I think that's a really, really big deal in this market, ladies and gents. And I think that tells us a lot about, if Bitcoin does end up dropping, how spectacular it would be if Bitcoin does come back down. It's very clear where our low for this move is. It's very clear where our high for this move is. And that makes it very easy to draw some Fibonacci's here. And the fact that this is lining up with only the most significant level on this entire chart, to me, is just not a coincidence, okay? Let's take the VPVR and let's see if it's showing us the same thing. Look at this point of control. This point of control coming in right here at the top of my yellow box. Put another line down over there so we can remove it. This yellow line is my point of control, and it is smack bang right in the middle of that golden pocket. The numbers just don't get better. Right? You just cannot get better than this. This is one of those things where everybody else and their grandma is just going to be losing their minds, getting worried. But you and I are here on this YouTube channel Tuesday, 26th of November, or 27th, depending on your time zone, wherever the hell you are in the world. And you're going to be seeing that Bitcoin has a very good level of support, about $20,000 lower, 15,000 whatever than we are right now. I'm very bad at math, but thankfully I don't need to be good at math to be good at this. And I think that tells us a very, very good positive image. I would be so surprised if Bitcoin falls below 67k. I don't think that's going to happen, maybe ever. Definitely for a long time, I don't think that's going to happen. I think 60k is kind of Bitcoin's, or say about here, 60k is kind of Bitcoin's like absolute low. If Bitcoin falls below 50k, then it's probably over. And you know, we're getting very, very bearish again. I know that that's literally 50% away right now. So, you know, I mean, it is quite far. But, you know, we're also looking at a quite extreme chart. So, you know, I don't have shame in talking about extreme price targets. This is Bitcoin, and extreme price targets work in both directions. You know, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think Bitcoin will get below 67k at any point, you know, maybe ever, or at least certainly anytime soon. And so, yeah, this is where I see a really, really nice zone of support for Bitcoin. We've got this support right now. If it fails, this support can stretch all the way down to 87, and that does line up with our 236 Fibonacci retracement, which is absolutely fantastic. 382 looks irrelevant. 0.5 looks somewhat relevant, but not relevant enough. And so it is just this 618 and 66 picture that we got right here that looks particularly interesting to me. Like I said, a little bit of support here at 87 if we do lose 91, but not particularly much, and I wouldn't expect it to hold. This does look like it's a dump that could be intensifying a little bit more, and that's completely fine. We've just hit $100,000, and in order to get here, we've doubled in 100 days. So I'm not going to be expecting this market to keep going up in a straight line. The fact that Bitcoin doubled in price in 100 days in 2024, when Bitcoin's now worth $1.8 trillion as a market, which puts it above silver, which is a precious metal, right? Bitcoin pulled off a 2x in 100 days. To me, that is absolutely crazy. And if Bitcoin wants to correct by 10% or 20% or 30%, I'm not going to say that that's a problem, okay? If Bitcoin's managed to move up here by 100% in 100 days, then why the hell is 30% down something scary to you? I don't know why that should be scary. I don't know why that should be unsettling. This is just a really, really healthy pullback. I don't know if we're going to get it. We might not. It looks a little bit too good to be true. But if we do, my God, it would be fantastic. And you best believe I'm going to be loading up with positions in this market because it would be the most, you know, bullish environment to be trading in that I've seen in a very, very long time if it did end up happening. Smash up the likes for that, ladies and gents. If you are finding this live stream interesting and engaging so far, I do want to highlight to you a very special offer which we've been having amazing successes with so far. It is a one-to-one package where you can get directly in contact with me for 12 weeks, and we have had phenomenal successes out of this program. It has been absolutely huge. It's the best offer we've ever had, and we've offered similar things to it in the past, but nothing this comprehensive. Every single person that's gotten in has paid off their fee many, many times over, like not even by a little bit, and they've done it quickly, usually within the first couple of weeks, and this is a 12-week program, so it's absolutely huge. It's very serious, it's very expensive, but if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, then you can reach out using this link on screen, and we'll get you inside. So really, really cool stuff. Obviously, you've got tons of free cash if you want to trade on these exchanges too, obviously only if you're not from a restricted region. But let's again move it back here to the chart and talk a little bit more about where Bitcoin could be going. And this time I want to start looking at indicators. I also want to bring to your attention that this live stream has been going on for 26 minutes now, and we haven't looked at a single indicator. We haven't opened up one indicator in this entire live stream now. I haven't done a single diagonal line. I haven't drawn anything other than boxes and circles to represent things to you. And you already have a very clear idea of what's going on in the market. It's very, very important that we focus on that for a little bit and talk about that here for a second, because I think that if you have to, you know, really use a lot of weird tools to analyze these markets to try and make sense of what's going on in the market, then I don't know why my camera's blurry. Hang on, let me see if it can like focus on my hand a little bit. It doesn't. Camera's just not happy to focus right now. I don't know what's going on. You know, but what we've seen is that, you know, this market is very, very easy to analyze without an indicator, right? It's been 26 minutes before we've thrown an indicator on the chart, and you already know everything that there is to know about Bitcoin in its current situation. There's a lot more that we're going to be talking about, but you know enough to feel very confident about the market already, and that's without looking at a single indicator. So that should be telling you something very, very important, and that the thing that should be telling you, quite simply, is that if you are analyzing these markets with a shitload of complicated tools, or if somebody that you're watching is doing the same thing, it means that you are probably not seeing or carrying out good analysis, right? It probably means that you're not good at analyzing the markets. It probably means that you don't understand what you're doing, and because you don't understand what you're doing, you feel like you need to supplement it with a bunch of other external tools, and that's going to be really, really bad for you, right? So just keep that in mind as you go on, because it's very possible to analyze these charts just without any indicators at all. But obviously I like to use them. They're good to use as supplements, and that's what we're going to do. And then as far as this goes, look at this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. We've just fallen into it now. So if you're kind of like short to mid-term bullish, then this is where you would start getting bullish on the 4-hour time frame. This is looking absolutely fantastic. We've just fallen into the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. It stretches down quite low. It goes all the way down to $83,000. This Ichimoku cloud has not failed since the end of October, which has been... It's been just over a month. It's been 100% successful for Bitcoin. Every time Bitcoin fell into it, we've seen very big bounces on some occasions and nice moderate bounces on other occasions here. From low to high, this was a 6% move, nothing crazy, but this one was a 12% move, which is a lot nicer, and this one was a hell of a lot nicer because it was a 50% move and it only took 17 days. So really, really nice, and now we've got a much bigger cloud of support here, so I think that's absolutely fantastic. On the hour time frame, we've already lost it, and this will start serving as resistance. So if Bitcoin gets a little bit of a bounce up here now, and it doesn't do particularly well, let's say it just moves up slowly, I will be anticipating resistance, and I think that's going to be how Bitcoin can break this resistance level, this support level, and it's also going to be how Bitcoin can break this support level, if that's going to be what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin does end up breaking those support levels, I think it's going to be a lot easier to do that if we first get rejected up here. Because every time you get rejected at these kind of key levels, that tells the bulls they got to step back, and it tells the bears that they are in a good position. We got a question for SUI. We are going to be looking at SUI very, very soon. My Ichimoku settings are 2061, 2030 in that order. You can read them on screen over here as well. And then if we take a look at the EMA ribbon, we've also got a very, actually we'll stick to the Ichimoku for a second because I want to look at this on the daily. On the daily time frame, we're nowhere near support. Our support here starts at $74,000. It ends at $83,000, and it's only going to be relevant at the end of December. So we're nowhere near support on a large time frame here, which means that we're very, very overextended, and it means that people who are slightly more long-term in terms of their view in the market are going to be quite weary of this market right now. They're probably going to be quite concerned. They're going to be quite, conservative with their money right now. However, I think that if you are long-term oriented in this market right now, you might not be doing yourself justice because this market is actually moving quite aggressively. And I personally wouldn't want to be having particularly long time horizons in terms of my, trading at the moment because the market is moving so quickly and you get punished if you don't move with it. So I think that's really, really important to be keeping in mind in this market. And actually I think that the truth is going to lie, a little bit more perhaps on the 4-hour time frame, or maybe even something in between, because I think that the daily is perhaps a little bit too far out. But what's worth noting is that if this does turn into a kind of more macro rejection, which would make sense, this is the $100,000 level after all. So if there's any point where we will be getting a macro rejection, it's right now, and the probability of that happening is at its peak right now. So I think that is important to at least acknowledge. But if it did end up happening, and if it took a long time, there is really good support for Bitcoin, at honestly quite respectable price levels here on the daily time frame. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Now let's switch up the tone a little bit and look at momentum, which is obviously going to be a little bit more aggressive. And from this perspective of momentum, we have a ton of support and we haven't even hit it yet. And so if you're looking at it from this time frame, you're probably incredibly bullish right now. The support starts at $88,000. It stretches all the way down to $78,000. We haven't even hit it yet. And this support has been very, very useful for Bitcoin since it became worthy of looking at. Basically, since it established a spread, it's been 100% successful for Bitcoin. It's typically actually very, very powerful for Bitcoin. I'm not saying that that's going to continue because, again, we have been rejected at 100K, and 100K is a very, very strong resistance level. So, I mean, at least psychologically. And so I'm not going to be expecting us to just, cut straight through it like butter, although, that is what I originally thought we would do, and I was wrong about that, so that's okay. But if Bitcoin does end up falling back down into that ribbon, it wouldn't make sense. There aren't any particularly strong levels around there as far as support goes, but these, lagging indicators they are showing support in these ranges. And if there's something that you actually like to look at, if there's something that you take quite seriously, then actually this is going to be very, very bullish for you. And it's more specifically going to mean that you're probably anticipating a further drop before things get bullish anyway. And I think that's what I probably say about this, right? Is that, you know, no matter what happens from here, I am probably expecting that there's going to be a further drop for Bitcoin, you know, just because of what's been going on in this market. But that doesn't have to be a disaster, and we already understand where all of our support levels are anyway. You know, so I think that's really, really important. It is our first pullback that we've had here since we've broken the all-time high, really. Our first kind of relatively significant pullback. I don't even know if I can say that, because we had this pullback here. You know, granted, this was below the all-time high, but this was a 9% pullback, and now we're at a 9% again, right? So it's not even that big of a pullback right now, but clearly there is, you know, there are a lot of things that people have to say about it, so that's definitely interesting. If we focus on this 94.5k zone of resistance a little bit, this is where Bitcoin has been struggling a little bit. If we zoom in, we can really take a look at this, and I can show you exactly what that means. Like right here, Bitcoin has been getting rejected off this level a little bit. It has been an interesting zone in the market going back for Bitcoin. Again, if we analyze this on a very small time frame here, like the hourly, we can see that we found a little bit of resistance here originally when we were setting all-time highs, and recently as we've been trending down a little bit. So this is going to be an important level to watch. But again, you've got really good zones of support lining up right beneath us, where we've also got the Ichimoku cloud offering a lot of support for Bitcoin. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, if we fail all of those levels, it's a long way back down to support. This is the VPVR showing us where all of the trading activity has happened for Bitcoin, and clearly there's quite a bit happening up here. There is a shit ton happening down here, and then there's absolutely nothing in the middle. And it's these ranges in the middle where you precisely see the biggest price moves happening, specifically the biggest drops. I got a couple of people saying that they want to go short. I got somebody asking me if I'm going to be going short because I feel so confident in the market. But it's the wrong approach, right? You don't have to trade everything that you see. And if you feel like you do have to trade everything you see, you're probably a losing trader. You're probably a gambler. You're probably a degenerate in some way, which is fine. We're all degenerates in some way if we're crypto traders. But, you know, we really don't want to be in a position where we feel obligated to trade everything just because we feel good. Even if we feel confident, it doesn't matter. We don't have to trade everything. And me personally, I actually really like money. And specifically, I really like making money. And because of those two things, I actually prefer to just make money calmly. When there's something easy, when there's something obvious, I just want to make that trade quietly, collect my money, and then move away. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I just want to make my profit and then move on. And because I take that approach, I don't take trades that look risky to me. Even if they look good, even if they look like they could be making money, I don't need the risk. I'm going to make the money anyway on the next trade that I make, and I'm going to make that money with no risk or with less risk. And to me, that's a much, much, much better position to be in than just trading everything that I see because I'm trigger happy and I feel like I haven't made enough money up until this point, and so I need to compensate, and so I need to do a bunch of other crazy ADHD whack shit just to feel like I'm keeping up with the market, to feel like I'm keeping up with everybody else's P&L statements. That ain't how this game works. That's how you lose money. Been doing this for over 7 years, and that's definitely been my experience in these markets. So I think that's really, really important. If that resonates with you, smash up those likes, ladies and gents. Tell me how you feel about what I just said, because I do want to know if it does resonate with you guys. Someone tell me the name of the indicator with the EMAs. If you go to indicators up here on TradingView and then you type in 4flies, you'll see it. Or if you just add a bunch of EMAs, you'll be able to stack them on as well. So that's really cool. Sam Rose wants to be held very tight. Joshua, I just tuned in and I love everything you said. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome, sir. You are absolutely welcome. That's what we're all about keeping it very, very grounded and realistic on this YouTube channel. You already know the deal, ladies and gents. And so, like I said, really nice zone here for Bitcoin. If it does end up dropping, we know where this thing could be going. Let's take a little bit of a look at what happened in 2021. You know, we did see something similar for 2021 where, you know, we had a big drop coming off, you know, our all-time high that Bitcoin managed to set here. There was no support on the VPVR. All of that support was significantly lower for Bitcoin. And yet Bitcoin did manage to find support in an area that it kind of just created. And so if Bitcoin does that again right here, it would probably look something a little bit like this, where, you know, even though we don't have anything particularly strong suggesting that we should be finding support here, you know, Bitcoin just, you know, decides to create a new price zone here. That's obviously going to happen eventually. It could be happening right now. And if you think that that's what's going to be happening, I actually think that's quite realistic as well, because Bitcoin does like to kind of form new price levels when it's setting brand new all-time highs. It has to eventually, obviously. And so it makes sense if that's happening right now, right under $100,000. And it also gives us a really nice base, because if we spend a long time under 100K, if we get above 100 and then we start crashing down, it's probably going to be quite hard for Bitcoin to drop back below 100K again. So that would be that would actually be really, really nice. Indeed, to see for Bitcoin. So Lots to cover there as well, which I think is really, really exciting. We're so close to 250 likes. So close, ladies and gents. Smash them up if you are enjoying this so far. I want to take a look at a couple of altcoins. I also want to show you something really interesting here. I made a thread about Bitcoin coming so close to 100K. And I really analyzed this, kind of similar to what we're doing right now. But the catch is that Twitter got this a long time ago. Twitter got this thread, basically, over a day ago now, like a day and a half ago, that Twitter managed to get this thread. It came directly from me, and it did not go to YouTube. So those of you that are on Twitter, you're getting exclusive, insightful content from me with the top link in the description. But if you're not following me there, then you are missing it. And the other thing you're missing are giveaways, because we're hosting giveaways for the Twitter on Telegram. I am getting you to go everywhere, but the beautiful thing is that on Telegram, you get more free analysis from me, and we've been posting a lot of analysis in there, just like what you get on this YouTube channel. You get more of it. It's more time sensitive. I only make 1 or 2 videos a day, right? So you get a lot more on Telegram, and you get giveaways if you follow me on Telegram and Twitter as well. So check them out if you like the sound of that. We've already paid the first person. We've reached out to the second person. He's having a couple of issues getting his wallet set up, so we're going to be dealing with that. We got a couple more giveaways that I'm going to be reaching out to people for as well. So that's all super exciting. If you want to get yourself involved in, you can check that out, because this was a really important thread. And let's take a look at what we said here. So Bitcoin came so close, but it didn't hit $100,000. It topped out at 99,850 and it failed right at the finish line. And this is not the first time it happened. And honestly, it's worrying. So let's take a look at this. So in 2017, it's not actually worrying. In 2017, it topped out at 19,990 on Gemini. It never actually hit $20,000, and then it dumped very hard. It lost 84% of this value. This is when Bitcoin fell all the way down to 3.1K. I've already done Fibonacci's Crypto King. You can rewind the live stream. And it wasn't only that time. It happened again in 2021. Bitcoin peaked at 69.2, so it didn't quite hit 70K, and then it managed to dump by 78%. So is this time different? Now, this is the key. Is this time actually different? Well, let's look at the facts. Bitcoin just broke out of a 7-month consolidation. This did not happen when Bitcoin topped out at 20K. On this occasion here, when Bitcoin topped out at 20K back in 2017, Bitcoin was not coming out of a 7-month consolidation. No, Bitcoin was already trending up for 1 year. Let's take a look at this very closely, right? Bitcoin started trending up over here in August of 2015. It's actually a lot more than a year. More than 2 years that Bitcoin was topping out. And so naturally, if it's been so long since the bull market actually kicked off, then you might expect that there's going to be a top coming in at some of these key psychological resistance levels. But if you just keep it locked to what happened in 2017, let's say this move here, which only lasted, in this case now we're only looking at a 5-month time frame, from $2,000 to $20,000, Bitcoin managed to pull off a 10x gain. This happened in 5 months, and again, there was no consolidation leading up to this top. Bitcoin just rallied up in a parabola. Again, on this occasion here, if you look at when things really got crazy and then when Bitcoin actually set that all-time high, this was about 6 months of trending up. Bitcoin managed to pull off a 6 times gain. Took about 6 months, and there was no consolidation leading directly to this all-time high. It was just all parabola and extreme price action. Now, if we look at what's happened here, yes, granted, we've been rallying up since the low at 15K, but this move clearly only began off this low at $49,000, and from this perspective, it's only been about 3-4 months. We've only doubled, which I know is a big move, but it's definitely nowhere near what we've seen previously compared to a 10x gain in 2017 and compared to a 6x gain in 2021. It's nowhere near what we've seen before. We've only doubled, and this is directly after a consolidation zone. So I think that's really important, which really puts this chart in a significantly different place to where we were before, where previously, we didn't have an incredibly long-term zone of consolidation to give Bitcoin a lot of juice to go up. We just actually, we were depleting our fuel, right? As we're in a parabola, we're depleting our fuel. We don't have unlimited fuel to give, but if we start consolidating for 7 entire months and then we continue going up again, that's going to reset things very well. So that's one of the things that actually, was completely different back in the previous situations. Number 2, big corporations like BlackRock are buying Bitcoin in billions of dollars. Is this a big deal? Yes or no? It depends on who you're asking. I don't think it's as obvious as just a straight yes, because all these people are in. Realistically, the best time to be bullish is before these people get in. I've been saying this for a very long time. Everybody and their grandmother wants to celebrate when BlackRock gets in, but I'm saying, hey, hang on a minute. BlackRock is getting in now, and so clearly the gains are being had already, right? The best time to be in is before BlackRock gets in, because that's going to be before the bags get pumped. We've already known that. We were already in, so we're actually, fortunately benefiting from that, but a lot of people are not. A lot of people have been parked in alts for the last couple of years, and we've been talking for the last couple of years so aggressively. We've been talking about how stupid that is. Hopefully, many of you guys haven't kind of suffered the issues related to that, but obviously I know some definitely have. ETFs are exploding. The US has a Bitcoin-friendly president. There is a lot more, but at the end of the day, you tell me, One thing I am certain of, though, this 100K level is going to be falling soon. This went straight to Twitter first. If you're not following me there already, then definitely get yourself on, because there are a lot of exclusives that I've been posting there. It's been going very, very well. And I think that's really, really important as far as understanding what Bitcoin's doing right now. We're in a little bit of a pullback. We are live, yes, sir. We're in a little bit of a pullback right now. And I firmly believe that, if this thing does end up kind of continuing to drop down, we're still not going to be in jeopardy for this $100,000 level. I think it's going to be very, very likely that Bitcoin breaks it. And I think it's going to happen sooner than later. I think it could happen next month, as early as next month for sure. Bitcoin's going in a different direction than in the past. It seems like it. It seems like it. Philip is making a recommendation to everyone. He's saying, I recommend everybody to find the book titled The Elite Society's Money Manifestation. It changed my life. I have no idea what that book is, Philip, but if you're making a book recommendation, I'm happy to promote it on a live stream because I love it. I love getting people to read. It's a very, very good thing to do, especially in these markets. It helps you a lot. So definitely, if that's a good book, maybe somebody else knows. That's very, very cool. Now, let's continue moving on. Before we look at altcoins, I want to bring your attention to a couple other things here. Thanks for smashing 250 likes, by the way. You guys are absolute legends. That's so cool. Here we got Bitcoin Archive saying that Bitcoin always flushes out the last of the degens before pushing up again. Don't get shaken out. And it just shows you all of the shakeouts that we've been having in this market recently, going back on the 4-hour time frame, only to the beginning of November, but just all the little instances where Bitcoin has shaken people out. Now, I think this is not putting things in perspective very well. Bitcoin's seen significantly bigger price moves than this to shake people out, but clearly there are flushes before rushes, as Bitcoin Archive is putting down here. So I think that's very, very cool. I want to give a shout out to Kevin. You truly helped me make sense out of crypto. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. You're very, very welcome, sir. Expertise is a big word for me. I do appreciate that. I don't really use words like that for myself in crypto. I do just see myself as another degenerate here, but I think I'm a good degenerate at that. But here we are. We got the Bitcoin halving. This one's really interesting. And we can see the 15% completion of Bitcoin post-halving and what happened to Bitcoin. Here, Bitcoin just absolutely rallied. It set up a high, and then it even rallied back down. It had a bear market. On this occasion here, 2016, 2017, we saw a moderate rally, nothing crazy. Putting in perspective, it doesn't look crazy. Back then, it was still quite a big price move. 2020, we saw a nice, very, very big explosion for the halving, 15% after its halving happened. And then on this occasion here, we're well on our way. We knew for a very long time that the halving was going to happen, and then nothing was going to happen afterwards. It's happened like that every single time. The halving was never when big events actually happen for crypto. It's always just, a milestone, and then things happen, significantly later on afterwards. I know that it was a little bit painful, the idea back in April that we'd have to wait this long for the market to actually get up this high. But if you were watching this YouTube channel, if you were watching these live streams back when that halving was happening, I've been very, very consistent with my messaging. I was saying the exact same thing that I'm saying now, and it's the exact same thing that I said years ago with previous halvings, even back in 2020 as well. I said the same damn thing. Those of you that were watching me back in 2020, you're going to hear me saying the same thing in 2028 with the next halving as well if you stay subscribed to this YouTube channel, which is unequivocally that these halvings don't actually do anything for Bitcoin in the immediate short term. It's just they turn the page, okay? They turn the page, so to speak, and then big things happen later on, right? So back in April, it wasn't so nice to think that we might have to wait another 6-7 months for the market to actually do something interesting. But now that we're here, surely you will agree with me that it's been worth the wait. I hope that a lot of you guys feel that way, because if you don't, then it probably means you're not very happy with the market, and that's not great. But here we got the Bitcoin conference showing us that Saylor just bought another $5.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, the largest Bitcoin purchase in a day. Again, I just find it absolutely hilarious that it's just so fashionable to be buying Bitcoin up here at 95K. I'm not going to knock it, whatever. We still need buyers for Bitcoin to go up. But the fact that everybody acts like it's a smart thing to do, I think it's hilarious, because Bitcoin was literally $20,000, $30,000 cheaper than this a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, and now everybody's acting like, that's just never even happened. Obviously, the smart people have accumulated Bitcoin down at like $3,000 when it was trading sideways there in 2018, and so on. I mean, there have been a lot of opportunities to buy this shit at cheaper levels, and I think that's, really, really important. A lot of people completely looking over that, but here we go. We got Bitcoin Munger here saying withdrawals from exchanges are intensifying. Feels like a beach ball underwater, and we're going to blow past 100K Bitcoin. This is an interesting analogy, basically saying that, when you push a beach ball under the water, it wants to come up with a lot of force because it's very buoyant. I definitely feel that that's how Bitcoin is as well. I've been saying that for a very long time. That's how I originally thought Bitcoin was going to break 100K anyway. The fact that we're seeing a lot of exchanges having outflows, meaning basically money is moving off exchanges, that's going to be an indication that big price moves could be coming, specifically to the upside, because if there's not much money on exchanges, then it means that people don't want to sell, right? If people are moving their money to exchanges, it means people want to sell. But if people are moving money off exchanges, it actually means that people are not interested in selling in the near term. Obviously, it's very easy to send money back to the exchange, so this is not like a super big deal. It's not something I would spend too much time kind of congratulating ourselves for, but it's still good. It's better than, you know, the opposite. You know, and it does still give us some general indication of where people are kind of, you know, moving their money around in these markets now. So that's absolutely great. This is great, informative stream, and presenting charts were good, bro. You're very, very welcome, dude. Thank you very much for the very nice comment. Sailor is being called Bitcoin Jesus. Yeah, it's quite funny how cultish it's becoming around Sailor. And this is important. We don't want to get cringe or like, you know, weird about it, right? Like at the end of the day, we're just here to make money, and we need to keep our heads screwed on, you know, instead of like starting to suck everybody off just because they buy Bitcoin at 95K. It's just not the way to go, guys. We need to keep it a little bit more grounded than this, you know, and just be focused on where the bag is and kind of move in that direction. I'm going to start looking at some altcoins now. I know I've been kind of teasing that for a little bit. If you are enjoying the stream so far, do me a favor and smash those likes up. Double check, of course, that you are subscribed. A lot of you guys watch these live streams regularly, but you're not subscribed, which means that you're not going to get notified of them when I go live, which means that something's going to be time sensitive and you're going to miss it. And you don't want to be in that position if you can help it. So definitely check it out if you do enjoy this content. Let's bring it over to Solana. It set a brand new all-time high. It had this sideways consolidation. It's managed to fall below it. Its next zone of support is going to be this yellow line at about $210. It's consolidated here previously. It topped out here previously in March of this year. And if we zoom all the way back out to 2021, we're also going to see some pretty nice price action taking place at this price level here from 2021, this rough $200 price zone. So I think that's going to be the next kind of main zone of support for Solana, which also to me indicates that Solana has more upside. I'm sorry, has more downside yet to come. This lines up with Bitcoin, which also looks like Bitcoin has a little bit more downside yet to come. I haven't actually been bullish about Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin's bullish case, because I need to balance this out, obviously. I mean, I don't think that we are going to be hitting 100K right now, but you know, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm going to be wrong again, obviously. But, you know, if we take a look at Bitcoin right here on the hourly, you know, we've got a really nice kind of zone of support here that Bitcoin's been finding support off. And if it does end up working for Bitcoin, then this high at 95K is going to be very important. We got to get above this high. Specifically, basically, we got to get up to like 96.5. Once we can get above to like 96, we're going to be above this wick. We're going to be above this resistance that Bitcoin managed to establish on the way back down. It established it as support. We're going to get above some of this shit, and then I think we're going to get really, really bullish. So this is kind of the key level to break. Anything above 96, I think we're super bullish. Again, 100K could turn out to be another rejection. We kind of go sideways. That would actually be really nice if we go sideways under 100K like that. The longer we consolidate under 100, the bigger the breakout is going to be. Those of you who've been watching this channel for a while are going to remember that I've been saying the exact same thing about this $70,000, $60,000 Bitcoin consolidation, where I basically said that, look, we've been spending so long in this price range now between 60 and 70K, that if we do eventually pop, it's going to be absolutely huge, because that's what happens when you spend a long time consolidating. And, you know, it's not like we don't have ample evidence proving what I'm saying right now. When this market goes consolidating for a very, very long time, the price explosions are ridiculous, right? From this low up to the main high that it set, managed to rally up by 83% in 90 days and 3 months, up to this high, managed to rally up by 170%, 180%, and it set an all-time high within 5 months. And so, you know, you get very, very, very quick price action happening when you come out of these kind of consolidation zones, and it stays aggressive for a long time typically, right? It was 5 months that Bitcoin continued trending up from this point. And, you know, if we look at when Bitcoin really woke up, let's say over here, so far it's been only about 2.5 months, right? So, you know, we're not even like that deep into this movement yet in terms of time. And so I just think that it's such a bullish environment right now for Bitcoin coming out of this consolidation zone. So really, really good stuff there. And like I said, 96K is going to be that level to break. And then obviously we've got 100K above that as well. So really, really good stuff there. Let's bring it over to the altcoins again. So if we look at Solana here, which is obviously looking particularly interesting. By the way, I see you guys hitting up that subscribe button. You guys are amazing. We're so close to 135,000 subscribers. The next kind of 5K milestone. Really, really cool. If you guys are enjoying this content, then definitely smash them up. If you want to get this thing up to 135, that'd be sick. Let's see what we got in the comments, how you guys are feeling, and we will look at. We got so many altcoin suggestions. We're going to be going through them one by one in just a little bit. Thanks for keeping us chill, brother. It's actually, I think, the most important thing we get from you. 100%, bro. That's the number one thing I aim to give you guys as well. I've just pinned your comment, bro. You know, more than anything else, you get this chill vibe from me, this vibe of like, I don't really care what's happening. I kind of expected, I definitely expected this to happen. I already knew where Bitcoin could fall down to. I already knew how, like, where Bitcoin can rise up to. You know, if you can kind of always approach the market with that, and you obviously can, it's so easy. If you can always approach the market with that kind of perspective, you're just always going to make money, right? And that's what you get. Like, it's vibe, bro. It's vibe. That's what this YouTube channel is all about more than anything else. You know, like me, I've sat in front of traders who spent 6 hours teaching me shit that I already knew very, very well. But just the fact that they had a vibe about them, which was like the vibe of a winning trader, that was all I needed. And then I'd walk away from them for the next couple of weeks and just absolutely slay in the market. That's what I got from those people, even though they didn't teach me anything new. It's just energy, bro. They had good energy. They had a good winning trader's energy, and that worked out really, really well. And obviously, speaking of, you know, winning trader energy, those of you that have been following, you're going to know a little bit about one of my positions here that I've been flexing a little bit here on Bitcoin. Obviously, it's done very, very well. Here, take a look at this. We got 𝐁𝐥𝐿𝐴 𝐷, I don't know how you say his name, from El Salvador, the president of El Salvador, flexing a higher ROI % P&L statement than you on his Instagram, which is absolutely hilarious. This motherfucker is up 113% with his company's sovereign, I'm sorry, his country, not his company, his country's sovereign fund, right? Basically, his country's money. He's just thrown it into Bitcoin, and he's flexing the profits on Instagram. I cannot believe what world we're living in. It's absolutely crazy. Obviously, your boy's got him beat. This guy can't match me. 3,500% on Bitcoin here. Absolutely insane. My TRX position is doing so well. It's up by 1,800% or 1,600% or something huge like that right now, which is just absolutely amazing. You can see that. Right, here's one of my other Binance positions where I made about 40K. This one ended up closing toward break even, but did still make some profits on it. And this TRX position here, in a very outdated screenshot, huge gains being made. So if you guys are interested in kind of trading on the same platforms I'm using, this was all on Bybit. They're going to give you up to 30K for free to trade with. If you've already got an exchange somewhere else, but you just want the free money, that's totally cool too. All you've got to do is just deposit a bit of cash and start trading. And then these exchanges will pay you out more money that you can kind of withdraw any profits you make with. So that's all really, really good stuff and well worth checking out if you are interested. If you're not from a restricted region, like I said, Blowfin, much more aggressive offers, much better for those of you that want that free cash as well. It's not as well known as Bybit, but they've still got great tech, and they're still punching well above their weight, I'd say. I think they're really, really cool. So that's absolutely sick. Someone's saying we got an intruder in the chat. Yeah, I think I noticed somebody that's just like extremely unhappy to be in this live stream. I don't know why you're here, to be honest, but if I see him again, I'll block him. But 𝐵𝐿𝐴, am I saying it right? 𝐵𝐿𝐴. But yeah, really cool stuff. If you're not from a restricted region, definitely check it all out. Let's bring it back to Solana though. And like I said, that support at 210 is looking interesting. Obviously, Solana against Bitcoin isn't moving much yet. In order to get back up to its all-time high, it does still have another basically 100% gain. And that's what looks really interesting to me. The fact that Solana can basically double against Bitcoin and it still won't even set a brand new all-time high. You know, against Bitcoin, to me, that just indicates that there's so much upside to get on Solana here against Bitcoin, and that is what I'm particularly interested in. Against the dollar, it's looking good. It's got some macro support here. I don't think that the support is amazing, but, you know, I mean, Solana just kind of bounces, you know, off nothing, so it doesn't really matter. Binance coin is looking interesting. It's coming back down to some interesting kind of lows that it's been floating around for the last little bit. You know, it's kind of it's regularly been floating around these lows for the last few months now. Actually, just for the last month, actually. It hasn't actually been that long that Binance coin has been around here, but if this does turn into a big move up, you know, I mean, this is basically at all-time highs right now. I think it could be exploding, and I think it's just waiting for Bitcoin. I think all these coins are just kind of waiting for Bitcoin right now. We got Dogecoin right here, you know, which actually managed to get its breakout, but then it fell right back into the same consolidation zone, which means it hasn't actually lost anything, but it hasn't done anything particularly interesting either. So that's a bit of a shame, but it's not bad. You know, and then Dogecoin against Bitcoin here, you know, also just kind of continuing to move sideways. Everything's just kind of on hold, waiting to see if this dump is going to intensify or if it's going to kind of stay where it is. You know, but here on XRP, which kind of moves in its own way, is producing a really, really bullish little kind of consolidation zone right now, which could be indicating another kind of break upwards. If we zoom out on this thing, look at it on the daily time frame, for example, it's got a little bit of price action here that I think is supporting XRP right now. I don't know if it's actually going to be holding this level. I am interested in some potential shorts just because I don't like XRP Army. I don't think it would be super safe to short, but it would be fun to make money off their tiers. So I might consider that. We got MDX in the house. What's going on, ladies and gents? What's going on, MDX? How are you doing, man? It's been a while. Yeah, man. Hit me up, bro. Let's chat. It's been a minute. Yeah. So XRP, I think some short potential here. If it does end up dropping, it's probably going to get very, very low. If it does end up dropping from here, but if it doesn't, and right now it looks like it's kind of gearing up for another leg, then that next leg could be very aggressive, right? This leg for XRP was a 50% leg, and it took 1 day. So I think that this is definitely a very, very aggressive chart when it's moving, and it is moving right now. So that is particularly interesting, and I think those of you that are in XRP are probably going to be interested in seeing this thing continuing to move on. Obviously, for it to get to its all-time high from current prices, that is still more than a 2x gain away, and if it can pull 50% in a day, then it can also quite reasonably get significantly closer to its all-time high when this consolidation zone is done, assuming that it breaks upwards. And again, I think a lot of that is going to be depending on Bitcoin and what happens with the wider crypto market. Here, if we take a look at WIF, another typical meme coin, let's see what's going on with WIF right here. Dog WIF hat. It's sitting at a nice support level right now. Really good chart. Very, very nice, well-developed chart right now. It's got a nice zone of support that it's holding on to. This looks like a potential buy. I don't think that it's worth buying it right now. Like I said, I think it's just worth looking at what Bitcoin does, but I think some people are going to be interested in that. WIF against Bitcoin, not looking great, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it just means that this is a good low to be buying it at. Pepe is slowly sliding down, but it's only in a kind of bullish continuation pattern right now, so that looks pretty good to me. And this thing, basically, could be just falling down to a zone of support. Once it captures support, it should be on its way to continue rallying significantly higher. Pepe against Bitcoin is doing the same thing, so that's looking good. These are not charts I'd be taking action on right now because of Bitcoin's dominance in that picture. And actually, we should have been looking at that first. I'll look at that in just a minute with you guys. But I think that if we take a look at Cardano right here, what we have got on Cardano, which looks particularly interesting, is just continued upward price action, but starting to top out now at macro resistance. So it's going to be very important to see how this continues to go here for Cardano as far as this zone goes. And then Cardano against Bitcoin, is also at a kind of macro resistance zone. What's interesting is XRP against Bitcoin, because XRP has actually managed to get above its resistance zone. It didn't get above it with confidence, and it's now kind of floating around it. But the fact that it's even done it this well, I think is very, very impressive. And if XRP can just push a little bit more, it's going to get to that next zone of resistance at about 2,200 satoshis. And then, if it manages to get above that, I think it could just blow up, and I think it could get significantly higher, than even its previous all-time high against the dollar. So that would be very, very interesting. So that's all of my kind of main rotation altcoins. I know you guys have a lot of other suggestions that you want me to look at. I'm going to start with Uni, which has been doing really, really well. Uni managed to bounce off this nice green box here. I actually had some longs here, but I didn't end up staying in them, unfortunately. So that's a little bit of a shame. But Uni's done really well. It's got macro resistance here at about $14. It hasn't hit that resistance yet, but it's in the middle of a range, so there's no trade here, according to what I can see. Arbitrum's just recovering from its disgusting death, and it's coming back up to some of its zones of resistance. Looks quite overextended now. I don't like the look of it. But I think a lot of altcoins that have been rallying up look quite overextended now. And it's just, it's these zones. I mean, they could turn out to be, quite significant problems for these altcoins as they come to revisit some of their important resistance zones. Let's take a look at Matic, sitting at macro resistance right now. Nothing particularly crazy going on. If it manages to break this level, if it manages to bounce off this level with confidence, it could rise quite well. So that'll be interesting. Again, nothing crazy that I'd kind of be paying too much attention to right now. Phil just looks like it's kind of in the middle of something that I don't want to be paying attention to. Phantom has managed to break macro resistance and is facing more macro resistance. Yeah, these pictures, these charts are pretty consistent. They're not doing anything particularly different. We've had a lot of requests for Link. So let's take a look at Link. Link is a confusing chart, man. Link is not is not looking particularly clear. It's just above support, same as the rest of the coins. So there's not much here. I'm not going to be analyzing any more alts for this live stream because I think the picture is quite clear. This is a Bitcoin dominance question. This is not a Wally question. This is not a peanut question. This is not well, I guess, you know, if it's meme coins, then you know, maybe they are a little bit more unique in terms of how they move. So let's actually look at peanut real quick. Yeah, I mean, this is, you guys asked me to analyze charts like this with a serious face, like with a straight face. It's like, I don't really know what I can do for you, but I mean, yeah, peanut is at a support level now, but this is just a chart that's dying. So if it drops below this level, it's probably going to die again. This actually looks more like a short to me. If it does drop below basically $1, then that's going to be really interesting to short, and especially if Bitcoin starts crashing, I think it's going to look so good for a short. But, you know, if you're bullish on this, and if you think Bitcoin's going to be, you know, potentially bouncing up and whatever, then, you know, yeah, you might start to see peanut rallying up. The thing is, you know, there's been a little bit of sentiment recently that's more negative towards meme coins, right? Like, meme coins have gotten pretty shit recently. Pump.fun has become crazy. People have been, like, threatening suicide if their fucking coins don't go up, and I saw someone, like, trying to kill fish if their coin doesn't pump, and it's just been so crazy. Just the desperation of people to make money has come through in the meme coin market. I've been saying this for years. You know, anything that's not like a major for Bitcoin, but to be honest, for crypto, but to be honest, even Bitcoin and Ethereum and them themselves, these are markets for desperate people, and it gets more and more desperate the smaller you go. And I think we've really been seeing some quite annoying things starting to take place in the meme coin market as a result, and that is that's just a reality which I think is important to be talking about, because if people do continue to kind of get disenfranchised with these meme coins, if they're not able to make money off them, if it kind of seems like it's just upsetting people only, then you're probably going to be seeing less interest in meme coins as time goes on. And then that can definitely impact what trades become interesting. Polkadot doubled and it's holding support. Check it out. So let me take a look at Polkadot real quick and see if there's anything interesting going on here. What a messy chart I have here. Look at this. Let's zoom out. What's this chart showing? It's the same chart, bro. You're saying that it's done something different, but it hasn't. It's just facing macro resistance right now. It's got a support level. If it bounces here, it might break resistance. There's nothing else you can say about this chart. I mean, you're looking at it in too much of a short-term perspective. I mean, it's bullish, yeah. I mean, it looks bullish, but I mean, like, it's only recovering its losses, right? I mean, from its all-time high, even Polkadot is down by 85%, which is like worse than the entire bear market that Bitcoin had, in the last cycle. This is worse than Bitcoin's entire bear market. And it's already doubled, right? And this is the picture for all of these altcoins. You guys don't get the fucking message. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you just don't get the message. These altcoins are rallying up really well, but they're still down worse than Bitcoin ever was in its two previous bear markets, actually. Not just in this most recent one. In its two previous bear markets, they're still worse off, than Bitcoin was at its absolute low, let alone the idea of these coins starting to set all-time highs. So, really, really important, I think, to be talking about that. And so again, we bring it to the Bitcoin dominance chart, and this thing is sweeping this low a little bit. It's dropping a little bit lower, but if this thing can start sweeping its highs, I mean, where is this thing going to stop? It's already hit my main target. That second target's up here at 70%. It looks entirely possible for Bitcoin to get up here now, and that just means even more decimation across the board for these altcoins, right? I know that I was talking about buying Ethereum, right? Ethereum fell down into my second and final buy zone, and I said I'm still not buying Ethereum. In hindsight, I think probably should have bought some, but I still think that Ethereum's going to be dropping down. The reason that I think I should have bought some is because it's just good practice, where even if I don't think it's bottomed, it's just good practice to buy a little bit, because I could be wrong about the bottom, right? And so, that's probably why I should have bought a little bit, and I still can. It's so low compared to where I wanted to buy it previously, which was, like double of where we are now, where everybody was buying Ethereum. But I still think this thing's going to be coming down, right? I mean, it's just producing the exact same, like, until this chart starts looking different to me, I'm going to expect that it looks the same, because it has been the same for a very, very long time. And anybody that's been doubting me, which has been damn near everybody, especially for this Ethereum chart, has been completely wrong. And anybody that's been agreeing with me, or just me myself, who's just kind of stayed consistent with this idea, has managed to save ourselves from a lot of money being lost. Okay, we've managed to save ourselves from a lot of losses here. And that's really, really, I mean, imagine you have 10 Bitcoins and now you got fucking 5 just because you wanted to buy Ethereum. Whereas, in reality, you could be sitting with the same 10 Bitcoins. And then if Ethereum, if you end up buying Ethereum here and it doubles, then you actually get to walk away with, 100, I'm sorry, 20 Bitcoins, right? Instead of 10, right? So I still think that Ethereum is going to be coming down. I think that according to this chart, it's the exact same setup that's resulted in Ethereum coming down every single time before. I don't see a reason for it to stop. Clearly, Bitcoin is not done. If the market is dumping, I'm expecting Bitcoin's dominance to go down. If the market is pumping, I'm expecting Bitcoin's dominance to go down. So far, we have seen a dump with Bitcoin's dominance decreasing, which is not typical for Bitcoin. That's not in character for Bitcoin, but that doesn't invalidate anything to me at all, because we are still in a very, very short-term move here. And if this does to become a longer-term move, that's when I think we're going to see even more significant stuff taking place. Now let's take a look at traditional finance. The S&P 500 is at a brand new all-time high. It set this all-time high today, which is absolutely fantastic, clearly indicating that this is still a very, very bullish index. It's only pulling back and then coming back for even more gains, which is absolutely fantastic. I think it could continue to rally up, and it should continue to pave the way for a generally optimistic environment for Bitcoin. This does not mean that while the S&P 500 is going up, Bitcoin has to go up. Doesn't necessarily even do that. But what it does mean to me is that this is generally a happy environment for speculative markets. This is generally a happy environment for people to take risk. And if it is happy for people to take risk, then that might indicate that there's going to be significant upside continuing to come in for Bitcoin. If we take a look at the dollar, we're also seeing the dollar continue to rise. It's holding itself pretty well. It set a brand new high a couple of days ago at 108, which is the highest level that the dollar has been at since, look at this, since November of 2022. That's going back 750 days now, and it looks like the dollar is just going to keep on moving up. So, if this thing does end up dropping, when we saw the dollar drop over here, this was where the stock market was going crazy, okay? So, this could definitely be happening again. Let me fact check that. Hang on, I might be wrong about that. I want to get a quick fact check on this real quick. I don't want to give you guys wrong information, and I think I was talking out of my ass there. So let me just double check before we start getting confident about what this chart is showing us. So hang on, let's pull up the S&P 500, bring this thing back to the dollar. Does anyone know why when I change my chart on one screen, it changes on both screens? Because this didn't used to happen. Like, see, now it's like independent, but before it wasn't independent. Anyway, let's take a look at this. If we drop a vertical line where the dollar topped and where the dollar bottomed, what was happening for the S&P 500? That was precisely where the S&P 500 bottomed out. Look at this. Exactly where the dollar started to drop is exactly where the S&P started to rally. And the S&P 500 managed to pull off a 20% move in 100 days, which for the S&P 500 is pretty good. And so, the point that I'm making, and the point that I've been making on this chart for a long time now, is that if you have a very bullish dollar, then what you have is a lot of, potential energy for the dollar to drop, right? Because the dollar has overall with time been getting weaker. If we zoom out and we look at this on, let's say, the monthly time frame, actually, you can see that the dollar through time just gets weaker. It doesn't get stronger. And it's been as high as 164. I obviously don't think it's going to go anywhere to kind of crazy levels like that. That was in 1985. I don't know what was happening back then. That was before my time. But if the dollar continues doing what it's kind of always done, which is just kind of continue to trade downwards, continue to head downwards, then I think that could be very, very bullish for speculative markets, because a comparatively small drop over here resulted in a huge move for the S&P 500, and then with the stability that the dollar gave afterwards, the S&P was able to just continue to rally on higher and higher and higher and higher and start setting all-time highs, which is what we're doing now. So clearly a very, very bullish situation if the dollar is moving up, because we do not expect it to stay up. We only expect it to come back down, and so the higher it goes, the bigger it can fall. The bigger that drop is going to be if it falls, and therefore the more profit that you and I stand to make in these markets. So that again looks very, very interesting. 𝐻-bar, let's take a look at 𝐻-bar. I'm going to be wrapping this stream up soon. If you have enjoyed the stream so far, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Those of you that have enjoyed it, I do appreciate it. Well, let's see where we're at. We're very close. We're so close to 135,000 subscribers. It'd be so cool to hit that milestone. We're at 320 likes. You guys are sick. Pump them up. If you are enjoying this live stream so far, I do appreciate all the love and support on this YouTube channel. And if we take a look at and yeah, guys, as for timing, like, I'm up no matter when the market is moving. Like, I mean, I've got like the weirdest, most fucked up sleep schedule. So, and it's been like this for years. Like, literally since I was in school, I was like waking up and sleeping at like extremely weird, inconsistent times. I need to fix it. I'm actually like genuinely concerned about it for my health. But I mean, so far, I mean, I'm 23. I guess I'm indestructible right now, but I can't keep this up forever. But yeah, for now, I'm just up whenever the hell. But yeah, H bar. Let's take a look at H bar real quick, and this is against market cap, but that doesn't really matter. It's actually looking pretty good. It looks a little bit like Solana, so you know whatever Solana is doing is probably the same. I know that we were getting a shit ton of requests for Wally, which I've never actually analyzed, and I don't know. I'm guessing it's this. Yeah, I'm not analyzing this chart. I'm not analyzing these shitcoin charts, man. Like, what do I do with this? Like, I'm an actual trader. I can't look at this and like do anything with it. I slept at 8 a.m. this morning. Joshua, honestly, mate, that was me for like most of this year. Like, I was sleeping at like 8 a.m. for most of the year. It's quite horrible. It's actually a horrible way to live. I mean, it works in Dubai, right? Like, in Dubai, everything's 24/7, or like it just closes late, and you know the time zone, and you know people are always flying in and flying out, and so you know Dubai's a very like 24/7 city, like New York City. Yeah, it's very much like New York City actually, in that way. But it's way more fun than New York. It's way more fun than New York. I get so upset when Americans tell me they've never been to Dubai, but they're in New York or whatever, and it's like, dude, like you don't know, you don't get it, you don't get it. But yeah, there's nothing I can do on this chart, so I'm not gonna bother. It just looks like it's got a little bit of resistance here, potentially a bit of support. Could continue to go up. What else can I say? But with that, ladies and gents, I'm gonna. It is way more hotter, but you know, I mean, hot weather is nice. I mean, you'd rather have that than the cold weather in New York right now. But ladies and gents, if you have enjoyed this video, you know exactly what to do. Smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, take advantage of these huge offers if you want this free cash. A lot of you have signed up to, you know, Blowfin, to Bybit, whatever, but you haven't gotten paid yet. And the reason you haven't gotten paid is because you haven't started trading, you haven't made your first deposit, and you haven't started trading. Once you do that, they will give you that money for free, and then you can kind of make any profits you like. But there's no use in just registering because, you know, you're not going to get paid for that. You'll just waste your time. But if you want to get that free cash and check it out, again, only if you're not from a restricted region. I got a quick request. Somebody wanted me to check out silver. I will do silver because you're a very nice person, but also because I think I should be looking at silver more. Not that I'm going to buy it. I just want to know what's going on with precious metals. And I mean, it just looks like it's kind of heading on its way to its all-time high. It's not been an interesting chart, like kind of ever. It rallied after gold, and that's what made it interesting. But silver hasn't caught on yet. To be honest, that might be why this is interesting. Maybe it's because gold hasn't, you know, when gold's move matures, that's when silver's probably going to start rallying, right? Similar to Bitcoin versus Ethereum. So, you know, this might just need a little bit more time. But I mean, it's not something I would want to park any money in, I think, personally. Can I look at INJ? Love from Pakistan. Shout out to my Pakistani followers, ladies and gents. Love you guys. Pakistani food, some of the best. Indian food, Pakistani food, same thing really. I know you won't like me saying that, but it is the same. INJ is looking sweet. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is a chart that's a lot more kind of, you know, friendly to analyze because it's just such a clean chart. I mean, look at how beautifully it's set up. I mean, this is just the cleanest short ever. Like, I might even want to go short on this. Look at this shit. This looks so good, you know, to be taken on a short position. If it does break this resistance, then that's an all-time high, effectively. But I'm not going to bet on breaking that resistance right now. I'm not going to bet in any direction because I don't think it's worth trading right now. But if I was going to trade, take advantage of that free cash, whatever, you know, I would probably be expecting Bitcoin to drop a little bit more, and then by extension probably INJ. Let's look at INJ against BTC, because if it's strong against Bitcoin, then it might be a bit dangerous. No, it's not particularly strong against Bitcoin, but it is at a very, very strong macro zone of support. Yeah, this is a strong macro zone of support for INJ, so that actually looks pretty interesting. Thanks for that chart. If we look at it again against the dollar, I think this looks actually really interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, because that stop loss, that's an easy stop loss. I mean, it's very wide, actually. But let me just roll with that for now. Probably first target down around here, main target down around here. That's 2.4 risk to reward. I could probably dial this up a little bit. Let's see. Let me see what I could do on this chart. Not saying I'd actually do it, of course, but... And it also just depends on Bitcoin, doesn't it? Because if Bitcoin's going to dump, then this becomes very tradable. But if it's not going to dump, then this is actually like super dangerous. But let's just see what Bitcoin's looking like on this kind of super short 1 hour time frame. It doesn't look like it's holding this level, does it? It's already kind of, yeah, because it's already punctured it. And the thing is for this trade to work, Bitcoin doesn't have to drop particularly low. Like if Bitcoin just dropped down to like here, 87K, which I mean looks so likely right now, then this would probably put INJ down here, wouldn't it? I mean, when was INJ at this price level? It was only, yeah, it was 2-3 days ago, so it would be very easy for INJ to return back down there. The risk is if Bitcoin does manage to find support off this level, it might rally all the way up to, you know, something a little bit like this, right? So let me just go ahead and draw this level. It could start looking something a little bit like this. If it ends up doing this, that would probably stop out my trades. So I'd have to keep an eye out for that. Probably because of that, it's not something I would trade just for that reason alone, because I do think that the chance of a little bounce for Bitcoin is quite high at the moment. I just want to see, where would I tighten this to, though? I think I'd probably consider... That's super reasonable. That is super, super reasonable. That's about a 3% stop loss, 7.8% risk to reward. And really, really nice target there. So, I mean, look, I'm not the kind of guy that goes short in these kind of market conditions, but I'm going to give this one a think. I don't want to rule this one out right now. Let me go ahead and share that with one of my analysts here. But yeah, ladies and gents, I'm going to be calling it now. If you have enjoyed this one, you know what to do. Hit up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. We got 350 likes in the house. You guys are sick. Thank you all for an amazing live stream. I'll be back here whenever there's anything going on. You already know the deal. Yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, and if you are interested in that exclusive offer, like I said, huge successes there. No failures yet at all. Super, super. We're going to get one eventually, but it hasn't happened yet. If you want to get yourself inside, then you can reach out using this link on screen. It's very expensive. It's very serious, but we've had, you know, phenomenal results. All right, ladies and gents, I'm out. Thank you very much. Cheers.